welcome back. So we're going to start off with this little 4-pack of these koozies that I got at Sam's. Now, I know that you've probably seen these packages or seen like tumblers and stuff at Walmart or that kind of thing. If you did not know, you can in fact do all the same things that you can do with a regular plain Jane stainless steel tumbler. Now, I did remove these little plastic pieces at the bottom, because these little rubber pieces, I guess I should say, because they say that you can put them in the dishwasher and you can use them on the top, rack. Well, once we put epoxy glitter and all that, you cannot put these in the dishwasher. So I just went ahead and took that off, and I didn't want to, tape it off and all that for us to do all the epoxy stuff. So it actually had a pretty cool little kind of edge that was kind of like beveled, and so it kind of made it easy to have the glitter and the epoxy. It was easy to just kind of sand that down a little bit and give it a good finish on the bottom. So since they were already painted and all that, I wasn't going to go too far into doing anything more with these. But I did take a little bit of took a sanding block and did a little bit of sanding. And then I just cleaned it off with alcohol. And that was just in order to make sure that the epoxy kind of stuck on there. I didn't sand it that much. I didn't sand aggressively or anything like that. I just kind of gave it enough of like a scratch on the surface area to give us something for that epoxy to adhere to. So here are these little margarita glasses that were actually available as well. And I did the same thing with taking a little rubber piece off on the bottom and giving them a little bit of a sand. And these were the cutest little things. Now, the biggest thing with these was that it was kind of hard to find something to put inside of them to hold them steady, to hold them in place. So I have these little cheap pool noodles that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I use them a lot for like hydros and thinner, smaller pieces, and they actually worked really well. But I will say that you want to make sure that you put a piece of some kind of like sticky shelving stuff or whatever, something to stick it on there, because mine did fall off, because I guess it's just the way that it was kind of shoved in there. It just did not want to stay. So once I put a little shelving liner on there, we were good to go. So I'm starting off with Irish Cream. Now, I did look on the website and it did not look like Irish Cream was available. This was a special mix that was done, in like February or something like that with Boujie glitter. And so I put a couple of alternatives down at the bottom, but anything that you have, I was just kind of showcase some of the Boujie glitters that we had that I've recently got a hold of, and just kind of show you how beautiful they are. This one is Spring Buds, and so I just kind of did a little bit of an ombre, and I just kind of filled in with the smaller cut. And so that's kind of what I did with all these. So this one is called Moon Mist, and it's a little bit more of a chunky, and I just kind of filled up the bottom, and then I took I think this is Whisper or Whimsy, I'm not exactly sure, but I sprinkled this just to kind of fill in, and I don't know, I just kind of liked the look of like just a little bit of a fade there, and so I like the way that it looked. So this one, I did not have any pinks as of this moment that I was filming this. So I used a PDB Flirt that I had. I think it was called Flirt. And it had pink and stars and everything. Well, it's not available either. So I did put some options in the description below with Boujie, so that you could kind of see that. But any, obviously any pink that you have is going to be fine with this. I just went with the color that was already on the base and went from there. So this one is called Wonder, and if you are wondering what glitter to buy your first purchase with Boujie glitter, this is it. 100%. Do not sleep on this glitter. It is the prettiest, shiniest. I am dumbfounded by the shine of this glitter. So go and get it right now and use it on everything. So I had put epoxy on all of those, and then I had forgot to put epoxy on these margarita glasses. And so the epoxy was kind of hard, you know, real thick at this point. And so I heated up the cups just a little bit. I put a little bit of epoxy on there, just kind of heated them up. And then I was able to spread the epoxy a little bit more. But it can be done if you have just that little ever bit so left and it's kind of gotten hard. Just heat it up, heat the cup up a little bit, and you should be good to go. So then I just went around kind of my crafter and kind of see what color would really pop on these. And like I said, I was just using the base color. I didn't want to go outside and spray paint it or do anything like that. They were beautiful colors and I knew they would be perfect for summer, so I just kind of went with that. So I took Minty from Peachy Olive Glitter, and I thought it went really well with the color of the pink, and it complemented the teal, I think, pretty well as well. And this is called Trance from PDB, and it has a lot of teal, but there's also a lot of like pink and purples and kind of iridescent and holographic, you know, little bits in there. And I thought that those two would kind of complement each other since they were going to be kind of a set. So I actually had to put about 3 coats of epoxy on these little margarita cups because just the way that they spun, I think it just, I don't know. I've just been having some issues with my epoxy. I don't know if it's just the weather getting hot or what, but anyways, I had to end up putting about 3 coats. I did a little bit of sanding after the second coat, and I had to make sure that they were smooth and clear because the Banff Custom Creations clear decals that I was going to be putting on there, I couldn't have it, you know, being all sanded or anything because it's basically like a water slide. Now the image itself is white behind it, but there is clear around it. And if I was to put, you know, that clear on top of something that was sanded or wasn't, you know, perfectly smooth, you could, you know, possibly see that. So I kind of had to treat it the same as I would with a, you know, with a water slide. So I don't, you know, I don't know if it was the chunky glitter. I don't know if it was the cups. I don't know if it was my epoxy, but I ended up having to put about 3 coats on here. So just use your discretion is what I'm saying. How many ever coats you think you need in order to be able to sand and be able to put something like that on if that's what you're using. Obviously, if you're putting vinyl on here, it would not matter at all. If you were putting, you know, print and cut, it wouldn't matter. But because I was going to be using those, you know, transparent white backed kind of, you know, sheets, that it's just better if you just treat it just kind of like a water slide. And I'll only show you one of these because obviously it's 4 of the same little cups, but you know, I just kind of wanted to show you just this glitter going under epoxy and how beautiful it is. I mean, it's just so beautiful. But anyways, these probably took about 5-10 coats of, you know, milliliters of epoxy. I didn't really use that much. I probably put about 2 coats, and then I did a bunch of sanding, and then I was able to do my decals on all 4 and put my logo on the bottom, and we were all set. In order to save time, I went ahead and did the white and the green up at the top there, but I was going to show you just, you know, how I decided to put these 2 stickers on. Now, the reason that I chose these stickers was I was going to do something a little bit different, but because, you know, as I discussed earlier this week, or last week, whenever it was that I talked about Cricut not working appropriately. Anyways, I had to find some stuff that I could cut on my own, like that I could make look halfway decent if I was going to cut it out. And so I just picked these 4 little images, and they all kind of matched in a little bit of a way. They all came from the same bundle from Creative Fabrica, link down below. And so I liked them all. I was fine with the fact that Cricut sucked and I couldn't have anything cut, but it was okay because I was able to make all of these cute, so no big deal. And as you can see, this one had like stars and little shreds of stuff in there. It was a little bit more chunky than the other ones. And so I ended up having to use my file there and kind of knock off some of those little jagged edges, and then went in with a little bit of sanding. And I could do this because the print then cut, it's just like a vinyl, so it doesn't matter. It's not going to show any of those. It would show like if there was big chunks of, you know, glitter sticking up, and so that's why I was making sure that it was sanded really good. But it's not going to show any kind of striations or anything. If you're doing some kind of sanding or whatever, it's not going to be like the Waterslide in that sense. And all 4 of these turned out so cute. I really just love the summery pop, you know, with those little images, the little decals, and the, you know, I think it was just a real cute, simple, like little treasures that you can kind of give somebody as a gift. I don't know about selling them, but, you know, hey, whatever. I thought that they would be something fun to kind of show y'all what you can do. So I had to clean these up. A little bit more epoxy got up into the inside a little bit more, because I was kind of having to like push them and keep them kind of straight, and because they were kind of being pushed to the forward and the back. Anyways, I had to kind of level them out a little bit, so I was putting my hand up on the top there. Anyways, I ended up getting a little bit of epoxy on the inside, but that's okay. It came right out. I just cleaned it up, and you know, I just kind of wanted to go over some of these things that I don't go over on every single video, just so that y'all do remember that this happens every single time. Every single time I'm knocking off those burrs, I'm sanding, I'm cleaning up the rim, and all of that every single time. So these are the transparent decals that I got from Banff Custom Creations, and I thought it would be kind of fun to use the opposite colors, right? So I was going to use the teal on the pink and like the pink on the teal. So since they were going to be kind of a set, I was going to give to my sister to take to her mother-in-law, and they go to the pool, and you know, she has a pool, and they were hanging out. So I just thought it would be kind of cool to have the two kind of match up a little bit. And so I went ahead, and because there's such a curve on these, you know, on the bottom all the way to the top kind of thing, and I wanted them just to be like on that bottom stem part of the tumbler, but I knew that I was still going to probably get some kind of, you know, resistance if I was just to do just a full, just cut it and just try to put it on there. So I went in and kind of cut some details out of some leaves and just all the way down, you know, through the branches of this coral or seaweed or whatever it is. And I just was able to loosen it up so that it could, you know, transfer onto the cup a lot better than if it was just one full piece. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So as you can see, you know, I kind of cut off those branches, and so when I was able to put it on there, I was able to kind of stretch it to go up and under and over, and it worked out beautifully. I had no bubbles or anything like that. It worked out perfect. So I would highly recommend doing that if you have a situation as such. If you're doing something like this, it does help. Even if you're transferring something on, cut the transfer, you know, tape, and you know, kind of make slits and things like that, and it will help you kind of gradually wrap it up on those surfaces like this. And once again, I'm just cutting, you know, as much off of this piece of coral, seaweed, whatever you want to call it. I was just kind of cutting around. I mean, this is obviously sped up. I was not doing it this fast. I was being very careful to make sure that I didn't cut any, you know, any of the delicate, intricate details or whatever. But I was able to kind of get in there and cut enough to where I could, you know, mold it onto the bottom of that tumbler. I did have to trim up just one little piece there that was just not, it just needed to kind of be separated from the other so that it could go up there, but it was no harm, no foul, looked perfect, and didn't show at all. And so then I just kind of picked out some of the shells that I thought, you know, would look pretty on there as far as the color. I didn't want something too bright or anything. I don't know. I just picked one out and just put it on there. I really wasn't being too picky or too choosy or anything like that. So, so I just I just put 3 little things on there and kind of kept along the theme of the colors being opposite from one another, and that was our design. So I ended up putting probably about 2 final coats on everything, on these and on the margarita glasses, and on all 4 of the koozie tumblers. I just did my final sanding and made sure that everything was nice and smooth, and then put those final coats on there after putting my logo on the bottom. And then we were all done with these fun summery cups. I am not a big margarita fan, but these are so super adorable. You don't have to have a margarita, but I do love that the lid was so cute with the you could put salt all the way around it, and the colors were just super fun for the ocean look that we were going for on this. And I love the way that the coral kind of crawls up the top there. And then with these koozies, they were just this little 4-pack. They come in 2 different colors. You can get them online. This one is not available anymore, but these little koozies are available all over, and it was totally, absolutely worth it. Please, if you make this, please tag me. Please join my Facebook, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all of that, and I'll see you next time.